Can't tell you how good it is to be sitting here in the garage. Peter Clayton behind the camera. I'm Jeremy Cordeaux in the Court of Public Opinion. Very happy to talk to you. Just let me tell you that on this coming Friday we won't be doing a show from the dining room table. We're going to have Good Friday off, and in fact, Pete, I think through till next Tuesday.
Yes.
So we got Wednesday and Thursday, then we've got a bit of a break, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoy your Easter. I hope it's happy and holy and a very nice time, particularly a particularly nice time for family. And I got gardening to do. God help me. I've been putting it off and putting it off. Speaking of gardening, this Saturday just gone by was Earth Day. Earth Day. Lights were turned out all over the globe. Well, when I say all over the globe, global landmarks. The Eiffel Tower, the Brooklyn Bridge, the Sydney Opera House, all that stuff. All the landmarks went dark. Why? Symbolic nonsense. It's all about climate change, of course. Every day should be Earth Day. And yes, the climate is changing, as it has since day one. Speaking of Easter, the Red Cross have put out an urgent call for blood donors to meet anticipated demand. It sort of happens during holiday periods. They need 1,000 people each day, Australia-wide, from now until Easter Monday. Wow, just drive carefully. Most of the problems come from motor car accidents, so take it easy. I was just keeping track of this. We're recording this on Tuesday afternoon for Wednesday and Thursday. Some interesting movement in Canberra. The Federal Labor Party, the government, is pushing through, I think that's probably the right political expression, pushing through urgent legislation to see to it that another 150 or 200 detainees are not let out of prison. Potentially dangerous people, obviously. I have looked at the latest information that's around at the moment, and I can't see that the opposition at this moment is going along with it without studying the legislation, because there are all kinds of, always, unintended consequences. You really do need to study legislation. You don't want to put something into law unless you have studied it. But clearly the government wants consensus of opinion. They want all parliamentarians to agree. And it could be a very good thing, I think. I haven't seen the legislation, I don't know. But it seems to me it would be a good thing to get something through Parliament quickly, which is exactly what they could have done before the last piece of nonsense resulting from the High Court decision to turn these people loose on our streets. Anyway, to a large extent, we are in their hands. Oh, I mentioned to you the other day that I was going to see Oppenheimer. My son Christopher was very keen to show me Oppenheimer. He had it on his computer. God knows. Pete, do you know how that works?
Not really.
No. How do you get a movie, 3-hour movie on your computer?
Well, yes, that's not hard, but I don't know where he gets the movies from.
Perhaps we shouldn't ask.
I don't know. No, I don't know.
I don't know either.
But you connect it with a USB cable.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well. I must tell you that Oppenheimer, I thought was, yes, a very good movie. It's long. It's beautifully made. Characters are wonderful. Costumes are wonderful. Everything's in period. God knows where they get the clothes and the cars and all of the things, like, you know, things on tables, telephones and everything. Meticulously done. Very expensive movie, as I say, beautifully made, authentic and memorable. It captures a significant slice of history. with regard to the Second World War and, of course, the dropping of the atomic bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It's 3.5 hours long. It's a long movie. But one of the great recent movies, and there haven't been too many great recent movies. I haven't seen Barbie, and I haven't got any great desire to go and see Barbie, I have to tell you. I just noticed that it was very pink. Very pink. I'm told that there are beds in the corridors of South Australian hospitals. Beds in the corridors of our hospitals? What's going on? I mean, there's no emergency, there's no pandemic, there's no crisis, yet we can't accommodate routine illness. When you look at the amount of money that has been spent on hospitals and health, who is in charge of this nonsense, and when will he or she be brought to book, brought to account? Oh, speaking of such things, the NDIS continues its death spiral. Oh, heaven help us. News that one provider, and keep in mind that they have, I think, 16 authorised providers and 150,000 unauthorised providers. I can't tell you whether this particular provider was authorised or not, but this one is offering taxpayer-funded ocean cruises to recipients of his NDIS services. When will this insanity stop? And when will this totally incompetent minister be sacked? It's quite unbelievable. Now, closer to home, here in South Australia, Labor should not have won the Norwood by-election on this past Saturday. They did, but it was with a reduced primary vote. In fact, when you look at both the major parties, they seem to be losing their core support. But anyway, the big story, I think, is the failure of the Liberal Party. It is an indictment of the party, the campaign that they ran, and its leadership. It really is. I know that Dunstan, Norwood, wasn't a safe Liberal seat. I think it's been Liberal for 12 years or a bit more, I don't know, but it's been traditionally a Labor seat, but of recent times it's been a Liberal seat. But they still should have won that seat, the Liberals, if only to tell the government we don't want the voice to state parliament, which of course people overwhelmingly voted against at the national referendum. And this government seems to be hell-bent on pushing it through. We don't care what you want, it's what we want. And what of the Greens? I don't understand the Greens, their appeal to younger voters. Why? Where is younger, aspirational Australia? The Greens aren't green. Well, in my opinion, they're not green, they're red. They are extremists. And further to all of this, I really wish we just had a simple first past the post electoral system. Look, I've heard all the arguments, oh, well, if your first vote doesn't seem to do any good, your second preference and third preference, you've got several bites at the cherry kind of thing. I don't buy that. A simple first past the post system. Or if you can't do that, then an optional preferential voting system. I remember talking to Dean Jench, who was a professor of politics at Flinders, I think it was, Flinders University. He was a great advocate of the optional preferential voting system, where you could just do a simple first past the post vote, or you could have options. You could have preferences as well. Now, he knew more about elections and politics than anyone I have ever met in my life. Dean Jench, great guy. A tradie shortage in Australia? So, when you look at it in the cold, hard light of day, there is no hope of building 1.2 million new homes, particularly with the infrastructure build which is going on around Australia at the moment. None of it adds up. And you know, the really sad thing is the media, no one stands up and says, would you explain the math to me? Would you explain how, with the number of tradespeople we have and the demands that everyone seems to be making upon this group of very talented, hard-working people, it just doesn't add up. It's not going to happen. But of course the media just goes along with it. They take the press release, the media release, and they go away and they write up the story. They have no interest or, I don't know, talent or something to stand up there and say, I'm sorry, please explain, how does this work? You never hear it. You never hear it. With the new Women's and Children's Hospital, I have yet to hear, and I'll keep you posted on this, what happens to CRI, C-R-I, the Children's Research Institute. This was something that was put together by the Variety Club. I certainly had a hand in it because the minister in the then Labor government came to me and said, would you help with this? We haven't got the money to put this research institute together, but we know that you're the chairman of the Variety Club. Perhaps the Variety Club could help. And we did. I don't know what we raised. It must have been with a dollar for dollar. We put in $1, the government put in $1. It must have been about $3 million. We established there on the 11th floor of the Clarence Richter building of the present Children's Hospital, Women's and Children's Hospital, the Children's Research Institute. Now, I've not heard anybody say anything about what happens to that in this move to this gee whiz bells and whistles new hospital. I don't know, but let me keep you posted on that because there's an awful lot of public money involved in that floor of the Clarence Richter building. Can't do it now, but I think best to do it probably on one of our Friday programs, maybe Friday week. There's a thing that I saw on Channel 7 News. I had heard about it before, to be honest. It's called the Repair Cafe, and it's a great idea. You know, we put so much useful stuff out to landfill for no good reason. Well, it's a throwaway society, isn't it? It breaks down, or it's almost like if the batteries go flat, you throw it away. No, I think that older-fashioned sort of appliances and bits and pieces were repairable. The modern stuff, not so much. But the Repair Cafe is a great idea, and we'll talk about that. If I can get it organised Friday week, we will do it. I think there are about 4 or 5 repair cafes around Adelaide where you can take stuff that's just stopped or broken down along, and there are very clever, usually older people who know how to fix things, repair things. The Repair Cafe. Later, I won't forget that because I think it's a great story. A study seems to indicate that school bullies, now we've all known school bullies. Pete, did you have any bullies when you were a kid?
Well, see, I palled up with the biggest kid in the class.
Not dumb.
Well, I had a protector. No, I had a guardian.
Oh, I didn't. I'm sorry. No, I didn't. But the idea that school bullies do better in later life than their victims. Now, I don't know, they're more successful richer? Where's the justice in all of this? I don't know. Anyway, I'll tell you the story. They tracked 7,000 school children from the age of 10 for 50 years. It's a UK study, and without doubt, the childhood bullies, the kids with attitude, aggressive kids, aggressive students, went on to be more prosperous. They went on to be the bosses, the ones who call the shots. It's interesting. Well, I suppose it makes sense in a way. It could be argued that the corporate culture, the competitive world, the business world would suit a bully. But it doesn't say here in the story that I looked at anywhere that the school bullies continued their bullying behaviour into later life. But as I'm fond of saying to you, one of my favourite sayings is, "As the twig is bent, so shall grow the tree." It's worth remembering. It's what gives parenting such a huge responsibility. Now, the Rising Sun on Bridge Street, one of our sponsors, Kensington Road, well, it's not Kensington Road, it's in the suburb of Kensington, 60 Bridge Street, just off Kensington Road. If you phone Grant on, well, I guess you're going to phone him here in Adelaide, although it's a bit worrying because you might be watching this in Sydney, Melbourne, New York, anyway, look, it's 8333, and if you're in another state of Australia, it's 08, and not that you're going to be booking lunch if you're coming in from New York, are you? No, I get carried away. It's 8333 0721. Yep. 8333 0721. Lovely old world charm, open fires, lots of different areas where you can organise different functions, from a quiet romantic evening for two to a corporate do with, you know, as many people as you want. Talk to Grant on that telephone number. 60 Bridge Street at Kensington. Well, how many years old is it? 1845. How many years old is that?
579, I think.
179?
Yeah, 179, yeah.
Wow, it's in amazingly good condition for that. Mm. The bar is beautiful, the atmosphere is great, the food is fantastic. Have a talk to Grant. 8333 0721. You remember the Royal Commission we had into the disabled? One of the areas of most concern turned out to be segregated schools for kids. The commissioners at the time were divided on what to do about it, but eventually agreed to phase out special or segregated schools for the disabled. And if you listen to the ABC, of course, you can't say for the disabled, you have to say for people with a disability. I don't know what the difference is. It's part of this woke political correctness crap. Anyway, I reported all of this to you at the time. It seemed to me to be a very strange decision. You only have to look at NAPLAN results to realise that our current method of teaching is not working terribly well. Here in South Australia, for example, we only have 3 schools in the top 100, which is a fail in anybody's language. If you were to impose upon this struggling system children with special needs, the whole thing would collapse, I would think. Teachers would run out of classrooms, pulling their hair and screaming their lungs out. It's a perfect case of throwing out the good in pursuit of the perfect. I could see in an ideal world why you would want to have disabled children in the same school. But the sheer impracticality of this ideal outweighs everything else. School is there to teach us about life, get us ready for life, and all that life throws at us. Everything: prejudice, difference, challenge, ridicule, reward, disappointment. This is where kids, disabled or not, have to learn how to cope and live in a world where everybody is different. Life is terrific, but it's not without its challenges. Do you remember that man I told you about? I think it was last week. Pete, do you remember the guy who got polio when he was 6?
No, I don't.
Well, it made an impression on me.
I can jump puddles.
No, it wasn't I can jump puddles. This was the guy who lived in an iron lung, got polio at 6, and he lived in that iron lung for the next 70 years. And he died at 76. It was last week, I'm pretty sure. He was aged 76. But when he died, he looked back on a life in an iron lung, but he got a law degree. He argued cases successfully. He wrote 5 books. And some say he was disabled. I would say he was gifted. Not lucky. But he made his own luck. And he led an inspirational life, an exceptional life, just as Professor Stephen Hawking did. School is preparation for life. Life is where we meet people of all shapes and sizes, all kinds of abilities and disabilities and talents. School is like life. One size does not fit all. We are not, no, what can I say? We're individuals. And we should never let people treat us the same. But having said that, you don't want to disadvantage the classroom any further than it is already challenged and disadvantaged. They talk about all of this as segregation, you know, separating the able from the disabled. The same people who wanted the voice, these are the same people. They are totally against segregation. Incredible. On one hand, you've got able-bodied children. On the other, you have disabled. Each different. No one's better, just different. Just as you'd put the smarter kids in the A class and the not-so-smart kids in the C class, where I spent most of my school days, I must tell you. You know, you're streaming people so that they get the appropriate attention. It's not discrimination, it's a caring judgment to benefit people, not to discriminate against people. Government and the elites, the intellectuals and the academics, they see everything through the lens of discrimination. And as you know, I go on about this. There is discrimination everywhere, every day, in every way. People discriminate against you and me. You can't stop that. It's choice. And we shouldn't stop that. Simple choice. The business of putting disabled children in ordinary schools is not going to help anyone, particularly the disabled. As I often say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. These people, these politicians, intellectuals, academics, they mean well. But you know what? It's the outcome that's important. The result. And the political system that we have, they don't really think too much about that because they won't be around. It's ideology. Have you got a song for us? Are you going to do the special song today?
I can do my new song.
Yes.
Yes, I can do that.
So you've got vision to go with it?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, that's lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. I'll give you some birthdays. 'Tis the 27th, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. That's the 27th, Easter week, short week. Oh, 1952. Red Letter Day.
Why?
Sun Records.
Oh,
Sam Phillips opened his record company on this day in 1952 in Memphis. And he began releasing records. Elvis Presley. So many.
Johnny Cash. What?
Johnny Cash was there as well. Who else?
I'm guessing Jim Reeves. I'm guessing.
Jim Reeves. He'll Have to Go. My God, that's a lovely song. Yeah. Anyway, happy birthday to Sun Records. Gave birth to the modern rock and roll musical era, really. The modern shoelace was patented in England by Harvey Kennedy, 1790, this very day. Have you got shoelaces? Of course you have. You got shoelaces?
Yes.
I use my RMs. They're easy to get into. Henry Royce, English industrialist and automobile founder, Rolls-Royce. He was born in England. He died in 1933, but he was born this day in 1863. Dudley Moore, the sex thimble, English comedian, 10, Arthur, Bedazzled, jazz pianist, composer. He dies at the age of 66, and the year was 2002. The Battle of 30 occurred on this day in 1351. 30 English and 30 Briton knights and squires square off using swords and maces and lances and daggers, considered to be one of the most chivalrous battles in the history of the world. And it doesn't say here what the damn hell they were fighting over. What's the point? Who remembers? Oh, well, I suppose we did. Well, we do. Patti Smith Hill, American composer, teacher, songwriter, wrote Happy Birthday. Wow. Born in Kentucky, died 1946, 1868, and they still make a fortune out of the royalties that come from people singing and playing Happy Birthday to you. Which I say to you if it's a special day. Yuri Gagarin, Russian cosmonaut, first man into space aboard Vostok 1, dies in a MiG-15 plane crash at the age of 34. He orbited the Earth for 108 minutes, making Yuri Gagarin also the first human to orbit the Earth. Gagarin, his response shortly before the launch was simply, "Let's go." Anyway, he and a flight instructor died in a plane crash during a routine training mission. You could go all the way up there and you could do all of that and you die in a light plane crash. When your time is up, I sense your time is up. Gloria Swanson's time was up. She died 1983, but she was born on this day in 1899. Actress. Sunset Boulevard, Queen Kelly, born in Chicago. Milton Berle, Uncle Milty, dies at 93. The year was 2002. We got to go. Thank you so much for being with us. Have a wonderful day. Not sure what time of day you're watching this, but thank you for being with us in the Court of Public Opinion. I'm Jeremy Cordo. Peter Clayton and I will be back tomorrow. Believe in yourself, and here is a new song.
Sometimes I can see myself as a cowboy riding through the Rocky Mountains, dressed up in my buckskins. I've got a cabin tucked back in the woods, just to keep my body feeling good. Got a woman with the softest touch to welcome me home. Then again I could see myself on a tropical island. Palm trees swaying, Polynesians playing. Take a look at that tamarack, see their beautiful bodies sway. Feel the gentle breeze on my face as the sun's going down. But the cowboy days are gone, and the islands are an ocean away. Now I've got the sweetest girl to love me, come what may. I wanna walk in the breaking sun, catch the morning stars on the run. In the mirror of my lover's eyes, her smile tells me we're one. Yeah, the cowboy days are gone, and the islands are an ocean away. Now I've got the sweetest girl to love me, come what may.